Welcome to Pop Culture Roulette for all your pop culture needs. We're America's podcast. All right. Well, everybody, as always, I'm Nicholas. I'm joined by Justin and Jeremy.
We don't get any special.
No witty intros. Just
I've been out of town for the week, so I really haven't had the chance to really think of much of anything.
Haven't needed to make
fair.
fun of us.
So, I was in Arizona. I went to a Renaissance festival, which was a lot of fun. I think as a group, we should try to go this year to the one down in Racine.
That'd be awesome.
Because it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous. I mean, at least the one in Arizona, and I assume that the one up here would be the same, and that costumes don't really. I mean, there were so many costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Very few of them probably time specific. I mean, I did see the guy wearing the Star Trek outfit.
All right.
Okay.
So the one guy who was a Big Bang Theory fan. A lot of Legends of Zelda outfits.
Okay. Cool.
Maybe one of you two would know. I saw a girl wearing a weird outfit that was like the pants were like almost like deer, like deer pants. Like she had a little tail and they were like fuzzy, like it would be like the back half of a deer costume.
Okay.
But the top half was like a blue halter top, and like it was a very specific, like she didn't just accidentally forget half the costume. It was a very and I was like, there must be a video game or an anime that this is from, and I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, that doesn't ring any bells for me.
No, it just sounds like a generic satyr.
I also saw that there was multiple Ghostbusters.
Nice.
And multiple Doctor Who's, as well as all of the generic, wannabe Viking pirate,
I didn't know that there was so much variety.
What about Doc Brown? Was he there?
I'm honestly surprised I didn't see a Doc Brown.
Maybe that could be something we do.
Marty. Yeah, I mean it was insane. It was a lot of fun. It was hot, which was nice because I was in the Arizona desert in February, and
Yeah.
which is really something I should probably do more often. I'm looking forward to this retirement thing in 30 years.
30 years. You think you're going to retire?
30.
Hey, well, that's already past where, that puts me at like 73 instead of 65.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll be able to retire.
But let's see, what else did I do? Oh, I want to give. I went to a store. We were driving around Arizona, in the Tempe area, and my mom saw a store, and one of the words that on the sign like stood out, and so we stopped there. It was Polar Bears Pop Culture Shop.
All right.
But the word pop culture was like the big part of the sign. So I was like, ooh,
This speaks to me.
it does. It speaks to me. So I went in there, and it was just floor to ceiling, every inch covered in G.I. Joe, Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Wow.
video games. They had some really cool Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street stuff towards the back. Basically, I was walking around going, this section is for Justin, this section's for me, this is for Jeremy, and each one of us would walk out of the store with no money left.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Time to sell some kidneys.
Yeah. I bought a Deadpool Mr. Potato Head.
Nice.
Right.
That's cool.
To go with all the rest of my potato heads. But I was talking to them, and I made mention of the fact that that we have this podcast, and like, oh, that's super cool. We like to listen to that kind of stuff. We'll listen to your episode. So if you're listening, I'm giving back the favor by saying, hey, if you're in Tempe, Arizona, go swing by Polar Bear's Pop Culture Shop.
All right.
Nice.
Cool. Our
And
heroes of the week.
Yeah.
All right. So
Do they have a website too?
They say follow their card says follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, I don't know if they have like a website where you could go to purchase stuff there, because that sounds like a pretty cool shop to check out.
Yeah, I mean, they had a lot of, obviously they also had a lot of pops as well. They had some really like kind of random, weird, rare Lego sets and, like unboxed and boxed G.I. Joe figures. And I was just like, I had that one. I always wanted that one. I had that one. Oh, I could sell it for $30. Interesting.
That's the best time when you see that. You're like, who will buy this from me?
Yeah. Is mine anywhere close to the same condition that one's in that I could sell this?
No.
Or would I actually be willing to sell it?
Right. Oh, wait. I have some more questions about the Renaissance Fair before we move into anything else.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, first of all, did you eat a turkey leg?
Heck yes, I ate a turkey leg.
All right. I feel like that's like the number one thing on the checklist, right? When you go to those things.
Oh yeah, that was
not for me.
For that and the giant pickle.
Oh yeah. Okay. And then also, did the staff like all stay in character?
I mean, I don't really, because it was so hard to figure out who was staff and who wasn't.
Okay. Right.
So, I don't really, and like, all right, so one of the shows we watched were some nuns making some naughty jokes.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, they were pretty funny. There was a juggler guy who was just astoundingly good, and like, but like, they were all wearing like costumes, but like they weren't like, very few of them were trying to do like the, all right, governor, hi, how you doing? Yeah.
Right.
They had a big jousting thing, kind of like the Medieval Times restaurant does.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this though, the Arizona jousting tournament there at the festival, sound system was terrible, so you couldn't really hear a lot of what was the banter back and forth.
Yeah.
And we also made the decision to sit in an area before we realized that was also where the band was right behind.
Oh.
So when they were like going to do the stuff, like the band, like the drummer started going, and you're like, okay, well, I'm so close to that, I can't hear. So maybe if we were sitting in another section, the speakers would have been better. But yeah, they
Gotcha.
Should have turned around and told them to keep it down.
Keep it down.
I can't. Jerome, softly.
Yeah, it was. And of course, like, there's so many vendors there that are not like. I feel like if we wanted to spend the money, we could get ourselves a table and just like sit there and do a podcast the whole time, as long as we vaguely put on a costume and like,
That'd be awesome.
Some of us look like Vikings.
Right. Because a lot of them were just like people who have like a local pottery studio or an art studio, and they, just kind of make their own. I also learned, and I guess I've never paid attention, and it's because it's been so long since I've been to a Renaissance festival. that like these aren't just like they're not like there was a lot of native Arizonians, but a lot of the performers must be a Renaissance Fair circuit.
Okay.
Because a couple of them made references to doing other states. And then one guy, there was a guy whose name is escaping me right now, Don Juan and Miguel. They were pretty funny. He was talking about doing a festival in New York. And so I looked him up on Facebook, and like there's 3 or 4 festivals that he does in a year. So he must just, when he does the Arizona one and that one ends, he's got just enough time to get from Arizona to like South Carolina and then up to New York. And then, they just do the circle every year. Okay.
We should set up a booth at the Renaissance Fair, and it'll just be us without mics doing a podcast and having some guy next to us frivolously writing it down because we're back in the olden days.
Yes.
That could be fun. Yeah. Yeah, I mean there was all right. So anyway, where was I going to go with that? I'm sorry. You're going to have to probably do a little editing.
That's okay.
Editing there, but
we were talking about that guy who does the circuit.
Oh, okay, yeah, he does the circuit. So that made me wonder, like, if we went to the Renaissance Festival up here, what are the chances that I'd see some of the same people that I saw down in Arizona? Because I know the Wisconsin one is what, Memorial Day to Labor Day?
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah. So, and the one in Arizona is like early February to early mid-April. So they don't, so you would have plenty of time to finish the one in Arizona, pack your stuff up, and leisurely take the, day and a half drive from Arizona up to Wisconsin, Yeah,
then set everything up.
I mean, I'm guessing you make a living, it's probably no different than if you were a carny. I mean, it's just the modern day equivalent of it, or just another version of being a carny.
Yeah.
A little less creepy version.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say more dignified for sure. It seems like it's more of like a less seedy place.
Probably in the front of all of the buildings. Yeah, I'm guessing behind the scenes, it's every bit as weird and creepy.
That's fair. Yeah.
But all right, so let's get to some of our news here. What did I write down here? So I think we've maybe talked about it, maybe not in a while, but we've pondered in the past if Lindsay Lohan can ever make a comeback.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're about to find out, because she just signed a deal to do 2 new movies with Netflix.
Wow.
All right.
So now I had said, at the time, with, a couple years ago anyway, and maybe I've said it more recently, that I felt like if she just went away for a little while, kept her name out of the news for a bit, sobered up, cleaned up, she could make a comeback. I mean, you've seen a number of other actors do the same thing, but I mean, she has real talent. I mean, we've talked about Mean Girls a lot recently, but
yeah,
that's true.
I mean, so she, as an actress, she has real talent. It was just all of the outside stuff, all the drugs and alcohol and whatever else was going on with her dad. But, now that she seems to have kind of fallen out of the spotlight for a little bit now, it'll be curious to see if she can stay clean and sober and stop doing some of that diva-like behavior that got her kind of run out of Hollywood anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. For sure.
So,
do you know what the movies are about or anything?
No, they just said she signed a 2-picture deal. They didn't say. I mean, I don't know if they even wrote a script or have any ideas. They're just like, I mean,
we got you.
Yeah, we got you. For all I know, they're gonna stick her in Christmas Chronicles 3. Yeah. But Well, all right. So now that she's about to make a comeback and hopefully a successful one, who else is poised or could possibly make a comeback? Somebody who's kind of gone away for a while that, either through their own making or just bad timing.
Shia LaBeouf.
Do you think he can make a comeback?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, why not?
I mean, he's obviously ridiculously talented, but he's also ridiculously up his own ass.
That's true. Yeah.
And I'm sure the drugs and alcohol don't help. But
Right.
I just, I wonder with some of the allegations that came out against him.
Wait, what are the allegations?
Well, I know at least one of his ex-girlfriends claimed that he was a little bit forceful at times.
Oh, okay. Well, then yeah, I guess maybe that's not so. He probably can't make a comeback.
I mean, but then again, look at Charlie Sheen. He just signed a deal with somebody, and I just put it on Instagram Charlie Sheen's going to be trying to do another TV show, make another run. It sounds like
I'll probably check it out.
It sounds like it's going to be kind of one of those like meta shows where because he's playing himself, but a somewhat fictionalized version of himself. And there's a bunch of other actors who are also playing fictionalized versions of themselves about either trying to do a comeback or I don't know. It seemed very strange, but I was like, whatever. I'll give it a shot.
What about Amanda Bynes? Could she come back?
I don't think she's coming back.
I don't know. I know that she just recently filed to have her conservatorship ended, but I don't know if she's ever admitted that she suffered from the actual mental illness that she was suffering from. I mean, I think, wasn't it like schizophrenia with her?
I think so.
Right.
I don't know.
So, I mean, I think if you can admit that you have a problem and do your counseling and your medication, then maybe she could make a comeback. But I mean, if she's unwilling to admit that she had a problem in there, I know a little while ago, she was like, I'm getting engaged to this guy. And then she had face tattoos all of a sudden. It's like, I don't think you've admitted you have a problem.
Right.
So, I don't know. Because, I mean, Britney Spears just got out of her conservatorship. And if you look at her on Instagram, she is not, I don't know. I don't think she's as well adjusted as everybody thinks she is. But she, I don't know. I mean, it's just I feel like with Britney, it's just a matter of time before we get another public spectacle. It's just a matter of, how much fun is it going to be before she flames out?
Wow.
All right. So, well, because we like to torture ourselves, let's talk about the Oscars.
I think you like to torture us.
Okay. Well, let's briefly discuss the Oscars again real fast.
Oh, good Lord.
Right. So the Oscars in deeming that they need to be relevant and stay on top of things have decided to push 8 of the awards to previously or in a ceremony earlier tonight. So they're not going to be live. They're just going to be here's the award and here's the guy who won.
Okay.
But they're 8 of the technical awards, like sound editing and that kind of stuff, the stuff that, I mean, all right, let's put it this way. People generally speaking don't care.
Right.
About the Oscars in general.
Well, I mean, but people want to see the acting awards and probably the best, animated film. They don't care about best documentary short. Most people can't tell you the difference between, sound and sound editing or sound effects or so they've pushed those 8 on. And of course, all of the Academy, not all the Academy members, but at least the 8 Academy members or the groups from those group are all mad. Oh, we're going to boycott. We're going to quit. How dare you? But it came out that basically it wasn't the Oscars going, we need to stay relevant. It was ABC saying, we're going to straight up cancel you if you can't get this program under a certain time. And like, if you don't take some of the awards off of the live broadcast and do it on, at a separate time or earlier, we're just going to cancel you. We're going to be done with you.
Good for them. This shit's too long.
Yeah, they're like, this episode is taking way too long, and it gets longer, and you people can't shut the hell up long. Yeah.
It's true.
So,
Aww.
all right. So that's just because somebody said we talk about the Oscars, and I wanted to prove them wrong or right. Anyway, all right. So AMC theaters, not really a movie chain we go to very often.
Facts.
Because I think the closest one to us is Mayfair.
That's right. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. They are experimenting with variable pricing.
All right.
Yeah. So like this weekend, because the Batman came out, depending on what time of the day you go, or the fact that, or because you're going to see the Batman and say not Jackass 4, you're going to pay more money for the Batman tickets than so instead of going and buying your $10 ticket or $15 ticket, whatever these tickets are nowadays. Oh, okay. You're going to see it at 6:00 on a Saturday. Oh, that's a more popular time. That's $18 now instead of $15.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. And a rumor has it that like the variable pricing thing is something that they started. Like that's a fact. Like that is, I don't know if they're doing it countrywide yet, or they're just experimenting with it in like, LA, New York, probably Chicago, some of the bigger markets. But something that they have kind of said they're going to even start experimenting with is charging more, because you know how Marcus already has like assigned seating now, which is great. I love that. AMC has apparently also started doing the assigned seating, but they're going to start charging like for a concert. Like if you want front row, you got to pay more.
No,
so like they're going to block off sections of the theater and go, well, these are the optimal seats. So you gotta pay $20 for that seat.
Wouldn't that be the back of the theater though, not the front?
Well, yeah, I was using concert as an example, but yeah, I mean the front row. Oh, okay, you want to see that movie? Well, front row, they're terrible seats, so they're only going to be 8. But they're terrible. If you want the good seat right in the middle or kind of upper third, ooh, that's 25. Like
that would be really. I can't even imagine that.
Each row is a different price: $8, $9, $10.
Yeah, and I feel like in a world where theaters are struggling to exist anymore anyway. Are at least reportedly struggling to exist. I feel like doing things like that is not helping your case.
Yeah,
maybe they're intentionally sabotaging themselves. They're just like, we want to be done. This is a terrible idea. Let's run with it.
I mean, I guess I do somewhat understand the like. This is opening weekend, so the price is $15. This movie's been out for 2 months. It's $5. Like that makes a little more sense to me. But yeah, this is the popular time of day. No, it's more. It's like, oh, you want the good seats? Yeah, that's more. Like, what's next? Oh, you want the fresh popcorn?
Right.
Oh, you wanted
premium.
You wanted ice with that drink. Oh, wow. That's straw upcharge.
They could keep their ice.
I'm sorry. Did you want a lid for that drink? That's
Yeah. You want a bottom to your cup?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that's where, and so and this is the problem though. AMC is doing it. If it at all looks like it's successful with AMC, it's just a matter of time before other movie theater chains start doing it too.
Yeah, but I can't imagine people are gonna let them get away with it. Like, there's gonna be a lot of backlash, I would think.
I would hope.
I mean, yeah, hopefully. What about like in the places where it's already rolled out? Aren't people already like pissed? Are people like been complaining at all? Or
They're in LA, New York that I probably don't even notice.
yeah, just another thing that's more expensive again.
The articles that I read, a couple articles, and none of them interviewed like your average ticket buyer, your average moviegoer. It was just all like industry people. And they were all like, this is a brilliant idea. But like, people, and I was like, yeah, you're not talking about the family of four who wants to go see the Batman this weekend. And they didn't know the ticket prices was higher. And
yeah. Although, you know what though, I'll play devil's advocate here, because maybe if you think about it, the expensive shows might really keep a lot of the annoying people out. So if that were the case, I'd be willing to pay a little more.
Yeah, I mean,
because you really have to, like, if you're going to pay that much money. I mean, although movies are already expensive, and it doesn't matter.
I mean, I don't know though. I mean, we live in a world now where, I mean, when listening to like last podcast on the left, they were talking about a bunch of just like fights at fast food restaurants that have happened over the last couple of months. And then just over the last year or two, like airplanes, like people treating stewardesses or flight attendants, whatever you want to, just physically assaulting these people. Like we just live in a world where everything seems to be so much more heightened right now anyway.
Yeah.
That, if like, we got to spend, that much more money to get into a movie, like people are going to, start fights or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be on edge. That was my last $18.
How dare you text? And,
yeah.
Shoes start getting thrown at people. I don't know.
Well, fuck AMC.
It's not really a movie theater chain I go to very much anymore anyway.
As a shareholder, I'm very upset.
Because I mean, Mayfair is just so far. I mean, it was pretty far away when I lived in McGuanago. Now it's even further away.
Right. Plus, it's a dangerous shithole. So there's that.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because Mayfair is kind of like at least the last time I was there, which was in been in 2 or 3 years now, is always tried to come off as like the upscale mall.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's really kind of been on the decline for a while, it seems. Although I haven't been there in a while, so maybe it's better.
Yeah,
it's not.
Okay.
I know the only reason I went there with any regularity was that one of the only places in town that had an Apple store was there.
And the Legos.
Well, and the Legos, yeah. But I mean, that was
the Legos.
But so if I had to do anything with my iPod before it finally died, or if I needed to do anything with Jess's iPhone, like, which was kind of annoying having to drive all the way in there for that. But yeah, I went to a kind of a weird outdoor mall in Arizona that was really cool. It didn't really have any of your standard, like, I didn't see like a Spencer's or a Victoria's Secret or a 21. Like, they were all kind of, it was definitely geared more towards restaurants, because there was this amazing Mexican restaurant whose name escapes me.
Casa de
Padre.
Something Barrios.
Casa Bonita.
But they had a really good like English kind of sports pub
Okay.
But when you walk around, like they had like the mom and pop like froyo place, so it had like you walk up and get the yogurt, and then you had like the toppings bar.
Oh, nice.
But then they had like your homemade soap store, and they had a store called Sugar, which
Wonder what that's all about.
Which I'm fairly certain just walking in there set my diabetes off. But they did have some pop figs in there that I hadn't seen in other places, so I was able to get a couple that I had kind of had an eye out for. But I mean, I saw like they had they looked like fake cereal boxes, but they were like called like gummy bears or berry. It was and it was just a box full of gummy bears.
Nice,
interesting.
Yeah, I mean they had a whole section of like energy drinks. Like, did you know that apparently there's a Bob Ross energy drink now?
I did not know that.
Oh,
I've seen it. It's there. Duff. It looks like a Duff beer, but it was like Duff energy drink.
Nice.
I mean, it was a really cool store that unfortunately I cannot partake of anymore. But I was like, this is the reason why I have what I have now.
it's
Stores like this. But I mean, there was just a bunch of really kind of cool stuff, and they had one side of the mall had like an outdoor stage, and they had a sign that said something about like Friday and Saturday nights they had live music, but it's right around the corner from ASU, so I assume that it's probably just a bunch of college bands.
Okay.
Sure.
Which, I mean, could be hit or miss. It could be like, hey, remember that time we were at the mall after dinner and we saw that band? Now they're, Imagine Dragons, or,
Right. Yeah.
Because, everybody gets their start somewhere.
Right. I'd like to retract dangerous from my statement about Mayfair and just say shithole, because I never actually felt like I was ever in danger when I was at that mall. Just to cover my bases here for future reference.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I do know that a couple of years ago there was a shooting at the Mayfair Mall.
That's true, and there have been a lot of fights, but I never ever felt like I at any point was.
You personally were.
Maybe if I heard that gunshot when it happened, I'd definitely feel differently. But I guess I could stick with dangerous because I forgot about that shooting.
Yeah. I mean,
so you retract your retraction.
Yeah, I'd like to retract that retraction.
I mean, but if you want to go with like, do you ever feel like you're in danger? I very rarely ever feel like I'm in danger. But when you're my size, you don't tend to ever feel that way anyway.
Right.
Like, just because people don't really want to mess with somebody who's as big as I am.
Right. Right.
I mean, anyway,
yeah.
Okay. let's get a little maybe too political, but let's talk about some recent political minefields.
Okay.
All right. Let's tread lightly.
Well, I mean, it's very easy to say that we're all on one side of this issue and that we are anti-Russia attacking anybody.
Oh, I thought you were going to say gas prices.
No, we're not going to talk that one's too hard.
We are anti-gas prices.
Okay.
Well, as someone who has a lot of stock from oil companies, I'm pretty much all for this right now.
But what I would want to talk about is the removal of Russia from a lot of things.
Okay.
All right. So, as we understand, Russia is attacking the Ukraine because Putin is an asshole. The people of most of the people of Russia, as I understand it, don't want to be involved in a war any more than like we want them to be involved in a war.
Yeah.
So removing them from the World Cup and the Paralympic Games is understandable to me because that drives at Putin's ego. That drives at like, hey, the rest of the world is taking this seriously. Where I do think it gets a little crazy and a little bit maybe like, come on, really? Is EA removing Russia from the FIFA 21 or 22, whatever they're up to?
Okay. Yeah. They're
Like,
doing that. I didn't hear about that.
yeah. There's a lot of people pushing for Xbox and PlayStation to just Uber ban or over whatever, any Russian accounts to their system. And if you, apparently, this is what the radio told me, if you're in Russia and you access Pornhub, all you're going to get is a Ukrainian flag that says no war.
Wow.
All right.
That's harsh.
To which, like I said, I there's a fine line here where like I get where part of it's coming from, and like, but at some point, like, because like there are a lot of people also calling for the immediate suspension of any and all Russian hockey players.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm like, okay, well, most of the Russian hockey players live in America and don't have anything to do with what's going on over there in Russia.
Right.
So suspending them just because they're Russian, like that, we're getting dangerously close to something that this country shamefully did in World War II when it just like rounded up any and all Asian people and threw them all in a camp just because. Like, I mean, obviously suspending a Russian player and rounding them up and putting them in a camp are two wildly different things, but
right,
it's steps in that direction, and it's dangerously slippery slopey that,
yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, like I said, I don't think I don't think I'm stepping on any minefields here by saying we are anti-war.
Right. Yeah.
And the Ukrainians should be allowed to be Ukrainians, not be forced to be Russia.
That's true.
And I don't think we're making any big leaps in statement and going, Putin's an asshole.
Yeah.
But I do think that at some point you're like, really? Like what? Okay, taking his black belt away, the World Taekwondo Association rescinded his black belt, said you're not a black belt anymore. Right? That is attacking him personally and is attacking his ego, which we obviously know he has. But pulling them out of the soccer game, like what? First off, what is that? I mean, do you think Putin's like, well,
can't play FIFA no more?
Yeah, but what if he likes to play?
Yeah.
Now he can't use the Russian team.
I don't know. I just, and I guess I'm kind of all over the map on it, because like on one side I'm like, absolutely, I 100% agree with removing Russia from the World Cup, and they shouldn't be allowed to compete as long as they're doing what they're doing. But on the same token, I'm like, why take the time to pull them out of the video game or pull them out of a video game? The only thing this is going to be really good for in the long run, though, is we finally have our bad guys back.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get some really good James Bond films out of this.
Heck yeah.
Some, whoever the new Arnold is, we can start using Russia as the, we'll remake Red Dawn for a third time and make Russia the bad guy again.
They just did a great South Park episode about this. The newest episode touched on the whole Russian thing. It was awesome.
I haven't seen it, so
good. It was like Mr. Mackey, like getting all nostalgic because it felt like the 80s again for him. So he kept like doing drills like constantly, and the principal's like, "You got to stop."
Nice.
Yeah, it's good. They're hitting it really well this season.
Oh, so this season's another upslope season, you think?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, I got Paramount. Maybe I'll give it a watch. Did anybody see anything this last week or 2 weeks now?
I mean, if you want to talk about the combine, that's pretty much what I've been watching.
No, I don't want to talk about the
All
combine.
right.
All right. Good night, folks.
All right.
To me, the combine is every bit as useless as watching the draft, which I know you do, but
it's just, the problem with the draft is it's just so damn long.
there's that. Well,
You need to do it over 3 nights, and
my problem with the combine is, so you bring all these guys to Indiana and have them like run 40-yard dashes and do deadlifts and standing jumps. None of it is football related. None of it matters. You know what I do have? 3 years of game tape, 4 years of game tape of that quarterback and what he can do on the field. That's what matters. His hand is half an inch too small. He's going to drop from the first round to the 8th.
well, maybe there's no 8 rounds.
Well, how many? Oh, that's right. They don't have that many rounds anymore. 5 rounds now?
7.
7? Okay. This guy's 40-yard dash time is 0.8 of a millisecond too short. Instead of being drafted in the first round, he's now going in the 7th round. I mean, he's still going to end up in the Hall of Fame because, we have 4 years of game tape that says he's really damn good. But
Yeah, maybe they shouldn't just have tiny hands then.
I don't know. The combine is just such a useless activity that, I mean.
It's from thumb to pinky, as far as you can stretch.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna make that grade go up real high.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, in the history of the combine, you have people like Doug Flutie or Drew Brees or Kyler Murray.
Doug Flutie. I just saw that guy in a testosterone ad.
Nice.
But
It looks good.
Doesn't he do one with Derek Thomas?
Yeah.
Frank Thomas.
Thomas. Yeah, the big hurt. Big hurt.
Yeah. But, I mean, you have guys like that or even Kurt Warner that, either don't get invited to the combine because they're just not big enough or, they lose draft stock and clearly go on to have mega successful careers. I mean, look at Drew Brees. And then you got a guy like, say, Jamarcus Russell, who, could throw the ball out of the stadium and just made the combine his bitch. And, I mean, look at what he did in the NFL.
Yeah, they would the coaches would send him home with blank tapes. And then when he'd come back, they asked him if he watched it. He's like, yeah, I watched it. Everything looks good. And they're like, yeah, this guy clearly doesn't care.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the combine is going to teach you that you don't already have tape on.
Just another dog and pony show for the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, and people watch it. I mean, otherwise they probably wouldn't do it.
That's true. Aw.
It's a pet show apparently now.
Yeah, I really need to get a pet.
I could sell you a goldfish.
I'll think about it.
All right.
They both went back to sleep, so hopefully they'll stay that way for a few more minutes. Trying to think. I watched last night that new show on HBO Max, Our Flag Means Death.
Okay.
It's the new Taika Waititi. He's Blackbeard, and what's that guy's name? He was on Flight of the Conchords. He was in the Jumanji movie. Did either of you watch?
I know who you're talking about. He's their agent in Flight to the Conchord, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's this fancy pirate. He wants to be the gentleman pirate.
Gotcha.
It's kind of funny. I mean, it was enjoyable. Have either of you watched that Righteous Gemstones show?
Nope.
Danny McBride. Danny McBride, Adam Devine, and John Goodman
Nice.
are the three biggest names. Then there's a whole bunch of people you're like, oh, and Walton Goggins. But there's a whole bunch of people like, I know that guy. I know that guy. I know that guy. I know her. I know, it's pretty funny. I mean, it's a little possibly sacrilegious depending on how you look at it. But I enjoyed it. They had 2 seasons of that show. But other than that, when you're stuck in a hotel for close to a week with really bad cable, you end up just watching Gone in 60 Seconds for, however many times now.
I've been rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, if that counts for anything.
I still have not watched the series finale yet. I've seen every episode except for that one.
I think I'm like 2 seasons back, so I just started from the beginning because it's pretty quick of a watch.
Yeah, I do like that show.
Jeremy?
I haven't watched anything. Like, honestly, I can't think of a single thing that I've watched besides like YouTube.
Wow. Just people playing games and getting angry.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do know that we made some promises that, because of my vacation, we're a little behind on. But
Yes.
I know they're like 2 weeks into AGT now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oof.
So maybe by next week we'll catch up and next week would just be a straight AGT recap episode.
All right.
Or we just will ignore the extreme one and wait till the regular one comes back. And
That's most likely.
okay, all right.
Let's be real.
I'm excited to see at least what it's like at first and see if it can capture my attention.
Okay.
I don't know. Speaking of AGT, did you guys hear that Nightbird died?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, that was sad.
that sucks.
Not unexpected when you are that far gone, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I was hoping that, given the exposure of the TV, that maybe, the right specialist would be able to get hooked up with her, but I guess sometimes it's just not meant to be.
Yeah.
So tragic nonetheless, though.
Right. She made a pretty big impact though in her limited time. Like her Instagram was amazing. Like whenever she could, she posted like some sort of inspirational message. Like even towards the end, like it was crazy. Like she was just so, really good with words and just like had a great perspective. So yeah. Just end on the most bitter note ever. All right.
Man.
Life is fleeting.
Okay.
Pop culture roulette.
All right, then. Well, let's see. I'm trying to figure out a way to bring it back up so we can. Okay, there's a cat. All right.
Whew, thank God.
All right. So I guess if you're. All right, let me tell you a quick story. I wasn't going to tell it on air, but I'm going to tell it anyway because it's kind of funny. All right, so last Saturday, I get to the airport. We're not going to get into a discussion about masks, but the airport with all of the FAA rules, as soon as you walk into the airport, you have to have your mask on. So whether I agree with it or not, I put it on because I'm not going to be that guy. There was a couple in front of me, or a couple, right near me, and I would say they were a little older than I am. I'd say probably early to mid 50s, and they were not wearing their mask, and they looked like they had no intention of wearing their mask. And there was another older gentleman, I would say in his mid to late 70s, maybe early 80s, in front of them. And he turned around and he was like, "Excuse me, you need to put on your mask." And the guy just kind of looked at him, ignored him, and kept talking to his wife about whatever. And the guy got louder and was like, "Excuse me, I said you have to wear your mask." And the guy ignored. And so this went on. And like the fourth time, the guy started yelling, "You have to put." And then finally the guy goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't realize. Thank you." And he pulls his mask out and he puts it on. But the level of hate and just violence in this old man's eyes was scary.
Oh.
It was, I mean, I was like, good. I mean, it's the first time I think I've ever come across a real Karen in the wild. Because I mean, literally, like, I mean, it was just, all right, you want to talk about, normally not feeling, we said earlier about feeling like you were in danger. Like, I honestly was like, I'm about to see a 70-year-old man try to attack a 50-year-old man. It's going to be fisticuffs. Like, it's going to throw down.
That would have been awesome. You could have had a viral video on your hands.
I should have pulled my phone out and been like, I'm going to record it. But instead I was just, and I said it loud enough where if you were paying attention or there wasn't like, 100 other people around me, like you would have heard it. I was like, man, it is too fucking early in the morning for this bullshit. Mind your own damn business. It's not your job. Like, you know whose job it is? That guy over there wearing the security outfit.
Right.
Or the guy with the gun.
Yeah, the guy with the gun. Or the lady right there that's wearing the Southwest sweater and scarf. Like, that's her job.
Yeah. Like
that's that guy's job. You're a 75-year-old man flying to who knows where. Mind your own damn business.
Florida.
Or Arizona. There was a lot of old people on my flight. But yeah, so that was my first experience with a Karen in the wild. And it just happened to be like a 75-year-old or 80-year-old man.
Nice. Well, hopefully it'll last for a while.
Yeah, God, I hope so. So if you are not minding your own business and trying to force people into doing something that's not your business doing, or you're wearing a Star Trek outfit to a Renaissance festival, or for some reason you put a giant drum set right behind this the grandstands for a jousting tournament, remember, stupid never walks alone.
Nice.